All right, I think we're live. I guess we're live. This says Dr. Kennard here with Dr. Tom Foolery, Library Associate. Hello, Dr. Tom Foolery.
Hello.
We got the Rage here. And oh, my fictitious God, do we have Chris Mallard here? We have Chris Mallard. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Chris?
Go on.
You know,
Good
I was going to say that this show cannot get any better than yesterday's show, but maybe it will. I don't want to raise up expectations, but maybe it will.
Yeah, what story does Chris have for us? Is it better than yesterday?
I don't know. So, Chris, man, what have you been up to, brother?
You know, trying to do the acting thing. I just got my stuff set up. I've only been up for a few minutes. Well, sort of. It's complicated. I'm going to pop off for just a minute and get decent, and then I'll be back.
All right, brother. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. So, yeah. So, Rage. So we were talking about before the show started that you're decided to, or maybe compelled to take it to the Christians.
Yeah, I've been kind of back into doing what the Raging Atheist did before. I let woke scold culture and the pagans come in, and I stopped being what I am. I stopped attacking religion as a whole. So that's kind of what my focus is now.
You want to talk about what the wokeists? Because of course, being who I am, I've been more than once accused to be a wokeist, and it's like that's by people who don't understand my work. But for you, what were they saying to you, the pagans and wokeists?
Well, there's being woke, which I consider to be a really good thing, right?
Yeah,
and then there's woke scold, what I call woke scold. I think you're calling them wokeists, that just kind of take it to that next level, and it's like, oh, you shouldn't say this thing, or you shouldn't talk to that person, and what are you doing? And you should follow this kind of like group think, and this collective think, and to me, it's just that's what feeds the right. That's, you're just feeding their narrative about what the left is. And it's so we don't have to be sensitive. We can talk the hard issues, and we can talk to people that, disagree with us. It's, it's just, and that became the issue back then.
Sure. I can see that. So what turned you away from that? What brought you back?
It was essentially a group of pagans were wanting me to denounce certain atheists, and they would put people like Mr. Atheist on the same list as somebody like Sargon of Akkad, or atheism is unstoppable.
I got my obviously beef with Mr. Atheist, right?
But he's not them. Yeah,
totally different level. So Chris, you're back, I see, sir.
I'm back. I made it. Thanks for waiting. Hey, guys. Good morning.
The show just keeps running, man. The show just keeps running. You know how it is.
I know. I just accidentally left this account open last night. I popped over here for one reason or another, and this morning when I opened my YouTube, there it was going, hey, Andy's streaming. I went, hey, let me go check out it. And then there's Andy and the Rage and Dr. Oct and everybody else. So I thought I'd say hi. I like the idea of a good reunion thing.
It's really good to see you, man. I've kind of wondered, because I haven't seen you in so long. Like, what's Andy been up to, or what's Chris been up to? It's good to hear that you're doing your thing. You're doing what you wanted to do, man.
Yeah. I'm acting. For those who don't know, I've been doing the acting thing for a while. Me and Andy talked before I left about the acting thing. We were making commercials and audio stuff, and that's just kind of where I've been, and I enjoy it. It's a little. I miss this.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the wife and I just the other day, we were driving down the road, and she said she missed the Daily Atheist morning show.
Yeah. My girlfriend's never going to say that, I don't think, Chris.
No, well, you never stopped. You've just been going right from the beginning. You never stopped.
This is true. Hey, Paul Gamish. How you doing?
Hiya, Chris.
Hey, Paul, how's it going? Good morning.
Yeah, not too bad. I've been banished to the shed. The wife went to the shed with you.
To the shed.
Yeah, we kind of saw that coming, though.
No one's surprised by that. No one is surprised.
So how's everybody doing? Do you mind if I start with Andy? Andy, how have you been doing?
Oh, brother.
Circle around.
It's just been it's just been crazy over here. That's what it is. Dealing with my teenage kids, right? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you that I got connected with my biological mom, and that's been kind of crazy too. Just by 23andMe,
Really?
So I've been
Notmatch.com. That's good.
well played, Chris. Well played. That's right. Yeah. So that's and struggling with work and getting back into the workforce and everything. Yeah. So that's
Awesome.
that's what I've been up to. Then that's just a quick condensation, condensing of like the
Of the
last
whole, oh, of course.
10 or 12 months.
I don't know Doc Tom, do I?
No, you don't know me. I've never met you before either.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, today's the first time I've ever heard of you, actually.
That's awesome. Well, next time we meet, I'll ask about how you've been since the last time I saw you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I started doing YouTube primarily because of Chris.
I'd get some blame, yeah. There's several people that blame me for their YouTube careers.
It's how I met Andy, unfortunately.
Yeah, like a drunk night in a bar with a midget. I don't know how it all happened. Went by so fast. Rage, how you been doing? Last time I saw you, you just gotten over the cooties. I think maybe you'd gotten the cooties a second time. I'm not sure.
Oh no, the cooties just never went away. I had one of those prolonged cases that just it required some steroids, but I'm getting over that. I'm dealing with some leg issues, just past a kidney stone, same old shit. But I feel great now. Like I'm hoping, I've been through like some hard shit. Now it's time to have some chill shit.
Good morning.
That's awesome. Good. Yeah, glad to hear it. Paul, how you been doing?
You'll have to watch yesterday's show to find out.
Oh, okay, yeah. They've
Exploding
been talking
testicles.
About it. Oh,
Testicle.
your testicle didn't explode yesterday, did it?
Not yesterday, it didn't, but it did a couple of weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, damn! How's that happen?
Long story short, basically, I had a vasectomy 35 years ago. This happened to me as well 5 years ago, and basically, what it is where the tube that they've cut on cauterized, it explodes and puts you in extreme pain. So yeah, that happened about 2 weeks ago.
So your nut builds up so much nut goo in there that it blows out the hole that they sewed up. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Manly man.
When they cauterized it, what's supposed to happen? It's supposed to develop like a hard lump over it, and that's everything sorted. But on some occasions, it doesn't, and it's like a weak spot, and it can be years after. Like I say, mine was 30 years when it first happened 5 years ago, and it just.
Yeah, to Dr. Osiris in the side chat, like since I heard this yesterday, when you're a man and you just think about getting kicked in the balls, how your gut just kind of squeezes in on itself. I've been like that since yesterday. Like it hasn't stopped.
And that doesn't, and I'm serious, that doesn't come close. That does not come close to the pain. It's I can't describe it. It's just unbelievable pain.
Wow.
Well, I wish you well, man.
Me too.
I'm fine now. Yeah.
You've only got two. Blowing them both out. I'll be right back.
Sure. This is interesting because I think about comedy a lot, obviously, and working with another person doing comedy, it's easier than doing it with three people. It's easy to have an Abbott and Costello than the Three Stooges. But I have to tell you, even just with Rage, Chris, and me, I think we had really good chemistry.
Yeah, because I'm such a serious dude, and you guys are both just like natural comedians that when I tell a joke, it lands because it's just like out of left field with me because I'm the serious one, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the funny one.
Serious is you were the good-looking one, Chris.
Serious is the wrong word for me. I'm the dude that gets pissed off.
Hence the rage.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Andy, there are many facets to my diamond. I'm the funny one. I'm the pretty one. I'm the.
You're the sun and the moon, Chris. You're the sun and
the moon. You have the second best atheist tattoos of the group. Second best.
See, I do actually. I do. You don't know how many times I've had to explain these on set or, just somewhere in some theater. Yeah. I don't say I regret them. Just
let me see if I can. Mine, if you can see it, it's hard to understand. But when people get it, oh man, the reaction. I've had one good reaction. The rest of them have been Satan.
It's fucked up. I got tattooed and I got free-handed on part of me. They're really kind of hard to see, but the dude put fucking crosses on me, and I was like, oh man, I did, but I wasn't paying attention what was going on. I was just sitting back and talking and stuff, and I ended up with some crosses on the inside of my inner arm, underneath my armpit, basically.
How rude.
It's difficult to see since you're shrouded in the dark side of the Force, Tobin.
Yes.
And hello, Tobin. Nice to meet you.
Chris, yes, man. Yeah, I enjoyed the morning show, and I was a disappointed cat as soon as like the day that show stopped. I was just like completely like deflated. I was like, damn.
Oh, man,
I really enjoyed the program.
My mornings were off for like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks after that. I think me and John started doing a show to try to fill the void. And then thankfully, Andy started doing his show. And I was like, all right, now we've got our staple again, you know?
So, Chris, what kind of acting have you been doing over the last, I don't know, couple of months?
Mostly lesbian porn.
You're a natural for it. You're a natural.
Yeah, as you would think. So I've been in one independent movie feature film called The Curse and the Covenant. It's actually a couple years back, before I did the Daily Atheist morning show, oddly.
Is that the one that you die at the beginning?
Yes, I died at the beginning. Thank you for pointing that out, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not on it. Don't get rid of you.
I got my 7 seconds of fame. Anyway, about 2 weeks ago, I was down in Corzozo, New Mexico, filming a cowboy western kind of thing. So I'm a gang member of the White Whisker Gang. It was fun. I'm actually majoring in theater at the university here in Albuquerque. CNM, UNM, CNM's for, And I made, I've done some background work. I was on Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Did background work on Stranger Things. You'll see it in season 4. They come into an airport and the girl comes and he gives her yellow flowers or some crap. I don't know. I was too busy walking by. I'm one of the guys walking by. It sucks doing background work. It creates a negative pressure environment. It's a long days. Everybody, I mean, they all work really hard, all the set people, but the background people, in my opinion, are those who are treated like just meat props.
Yeah.
And you get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, you leave at 10 o'clock at night, and it just sucks. It sucks. You might get to see a star. Ooh, look, there's that person. And okay, they're real now. You can't talk to them. They don't let you talk to them. Background don't talk to the stars. It's not a lot of fun.
I'm sure you get paid a lot, though, Chris.
No. So for doing things like Stranger Things background work here in Albuquerque, it's usually like $90 for an 8-hour day.
Yeah.
And then they'll pay you time and a half for any time over that, So it's not nothing. Go ahead, Chubin.
I'm sorry. I have noticed like other stars who go through the process and they do their work and then they end up fucking broke. Like I just saw this story about Dolomite, like how the industry like uses this up and makes all the money off of it, and the people who are going there and working, going there at 6 o'clock in the morning and staying until 10, and then not really getting paid. Like what the fuck?
Capitalism run rampant, dude. It's that great old American dream.
Look at YouTube.
Yeah.
How many hours do you put in to build a YouTube channel? And how much money do you make off of it? YouTube makes this $1 billion company makes as much off of your money as you do.
Oh yeah, and if you don't have the capital to really invest in YouTube, then you're not going to make shit off of it. It takes, you just got to be passionate, and maybe you'll blow up with time. But most of the people that you see are really big on YouTube. They put a lot of money into becoming really big on YouTube.
And that's the thing that I refuse to do. I've always run in the black in terms of
me too.
I haven't had a lot of money coming in, but from the blog and from what little I make off YouTube. Obviously, I don't do it for the cash, right?
Yeah, right.
I
Right.
figured
That's
out
what I'm
that.
saying. We were talking about being a workhouse where you get nothing and the industry gets it all. That the
Yeah.
YouTube is the best example of that.
Yeah.
At least doing background for Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
I did that one day and I got like $230 from that one day doing
That-
background. It's not nothing.
Yeah, and when you consider a lot, and that's for a major motion picture. I mean, for a major production. I know
That show
that.
is the shit, dude. I love it. It's one
I
of my
mean,
favorites.
Chris, you probably know this, is that there's a lot of micro budget movies or micro budget productions that you just don't get paid at all. You might get lunch.
That's right.
But that's
That's
it.
right. And credit. See, credit. Whenever you're a new actor, you can go look at my IMDb. IMDb Chris Black. You'll find me on there. Most of mine, well, some of them were done for nothing but credit. Just to get a credit on YouTube. So the next time I get a job, I can say, hey, look, I got a job. Now, the cowboy thing down in Carrizozo, they paid me, but it was next to nothing, $150 for 3 days worth of work. You know?
Right.
Which, but again, I didn't do it for the money. I did it so I can get that reel and the credit. Now, the way they're going to do it, it's opening at night, so it's a dark scene, and there's a fire, and all you see are these hands lit by the fire. Okay? And then I lean into the sunlight, into the light from the and start my thing. I'm the one opens it in that kind of dramatic black lean-in thing. I'm cowboyed up, and then start whistling, and we start singing a drunk song, whatever. But I mean, it's really cool. That's what I did it for, not for the cash, because there's not really any cash in it. But now the background thing with the big Netflix is really like that. It's like a meat market.
Yeah.
This much per day. You can see those ads all the time. Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, Roswell, the Stranger Things. They're all doing that here. So you can get that kind of work here. And it's not bad money per se. But the more independent jobs, whenever it comes to actual real acting, like there's a casino up here, they're paying background actors $1,400 for 1 day. Not background actors, but they're non-speaking roles. Just sit there and pretend like you're happy. $1,400 a day. The background people on that are getting $500 a day. So it can be good. It's just not, whenever you hear Stranger Things or something, just think not good.
Sure. Well, that's interesting.
Do you get killed off in the cowboy one, in the western?
No.
No.
I just, no.
Oh, that's disappointing. I think you died. You're good at dying. I thought you did a really good job at dying on the first one.
Here's something about that story. That last movie you're talking about where I died at the beginning of it, it's a Dungeons and Dragons, Knights and Wizards, right? So I actually ran B camera throughout the entire show. So you go watch that movie. I ran the B camera through it. We filmed my part at the last. I didn't realize nothing. I didn't think nothing about it. But I was like, go that way, and you shall find whatever you want. Ugh. I was the only one to do an English accent for the show. It opens with the dying knight. He dies with an English accent. And here comes this other people, and none of them have an English accent. I didn't realize. I felt like an idiot. But you would think I would have noticed because I ran the camera for the whole damn thing. Never come.
Well, I would think the English accent would be mandatory for a lot of those productions.
One would think. So, and also recently, I'm in the New Mexico Shakespeare Festival. I got into the troupe. I didn't get a role per se. I'm just in the ensemble, but I got into the troupe, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing? What productions?
Hamlet and Twelfth Night. Twelfth Night's going to be half English, half Spanish. I'm just in Hamlet, but it's been a fantastic experience. I broke into the troupe. Now next year when they do it, I'll be able to get a role. There was nothing I could do to get a role. I just get in the door at this point.
Sure.
So next year, but I got to tell you, as an actor, now we're going to do this theater, right? Now they require you got to be there for rehearsals, and you really got to be there for performances. So now you got this month and a half, 2 months at least that are just locked up, and there are all these dates. And now you try to find a work as an actor doing commercials or little movies or whatever. And it's like, oh, I can't do that one because of this, and I can't do that one because of this. It's just, that's why this is going to be my last time. I'm not going to do any more theater until next year. I might do the Shakespeare Festival just because I love the Shakespeare.
Well, this is the issue with running or trying, because I know a bunch of my buddies have done full-blown micro-budget movies, and they've had to do it within a very short period of time because the actors, which aren't getting paid, are getting paid very low amount. They have to hustle and do other gigs, and so they have to shoot it very quickly, because if they don't shoot it within a concise time period, then people can get different haircuts or they can look differently. And so you got to cram it all at once. It's tough. It's a tough lift. It's a hard lift.
There's a lot to it. But it's a lot of fun. Most of my life, I've always been the working guy, the guy behind the scenes, setting up the camera. We saw that with the Daily Atheist Morning Show. I was the star, if you will, of the show, but man, I did all my work in the background and building everything. And that's kind of where most of my history has been. Now it's a little different to walk out there and they're trying to push this van out of the mud. They're like, no, you stay over there. You don't do none of this because I'm the primary actor on the show.
Sure.
You know,
and your first instinct is to do the yeoman's work of just like carrying things and pushing things and engineering stuff.
So it's that's what I work for, though, is to be able to go, okay, I'm sitting over here. I'll tell you, there's a story that happened. I was in Messiah a few years back. It's a 1-season show. And there was this, they tell you not to talk to the actors. Don't talk to the actors. And I understand why.
You was in the Messiah. That was like a Netflix show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched that shit. I can't believe I missed you.
Yeah, well, I'm in there somewhere between episode
that was a decent show.
6.
I thought it was decent.
Was it? Was it a good show?
Yeah, I thought it was decent.
There's a church scene and stuff like that. I'm in there. It's episode 4 to 6 somewhere. I've never seen it. Anyway, they tell you not to talk to the actors. And there was this one lady in the background, and there was an actress sitting there over there working her lines, walking back and forth. And this background actress spoke to her and asked her questions or whatever. And she was pleasant enough to the background person. But as soon as the PA came over, she said, hey, can you take me somewhere else? The background is talking to me. And she said it in such a way that actually hurt the lady's feelings. The background, she ended up crying on the set about it, But I get it. Whenever I did that Curse in the Covenant and they were driving me up to the side of the mountain, we were going to feel that dying night. And I had to learn my lines. Oh, go that way. Whatever. I don't even remember what they were. Go that way. Something. I was trying to go over my lines and just make sure. But the makeup artist lady just kept on and on and on because she was riding in the van with me. And I was, oh my God, woman, please shut up. I get it.
It's difficult when you're in the pocket, right? When you're trying to memorize something and focus on something, to also be polite and to take into other people's feelings. It's like it's difficult because God knows when I'm going to pop off, it's going to be while I'm trying to think of this thing over here, and something happens over here, and that means words come out of my mouth that I'm going to regret later on. They're not the kindest and gentlest words.
Yes, true that. We can ask the Rage. I'm sure me and the Rage both know how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm like hand in hand with it. We got a whole year of watching me go off.
That shit, I've got two I've got one tonight that should be a decent conversation, but then I got this preacher guy tomorrow, man, and I brought Oz in because it's going to be a fucking Royal Rumble.
Really?
That's good.
Now, wait. I gotta ask, did one of our atheist brethren switch to being a Muslim? Is that right?
Khalil Allah. What?
Yeah, I've had a couple chats with him. I like Khalil. I probably like him more now as a Muslim for some reason than I did when he was an atheist. Because he's still real philosophical, but he's a lot more. He talks more shit now. But I definitely took some issues with, and I still have some issues with the reasons why he converted. It's not some like. I found this God. It's like philosophers were able to argue me into this God, and that's that. I don't know. I take some issue with that.
We all do things and later on look back in life and go, "Why the did I do that?" And this may be a moment for him.
Well, and for me, like. It blew me away because he's a star rising in the atheist community, right? He's talking to the biggest and the Aaron Ross and that. Well, yeah, at the time his channel was blowing up and he was talking to the biggest atheist, and then it just out of nowhere.
You can talk to, I've talked to a ton of people, right? And that does not mean you're gonna blow up. I've had stuff go. I've had little shorts go by.
His channel hit 1,000 really quick.
But the thing is, and Chris and I have had this conversation before about how things grow, right? So there's always this expectation it's going to be a clear line, right? It's a straight line between 0 subscribers to like a gazillion subscribers, and that's not true. You hit little punctuated. It's like evolution, right? You have it's punctuated equilibrium.
That's how my channel grew.
Yeah, and so and people's expectations on how fast their channels are going to grow may not match up. So Khalil's channel may have been growing fine, but then he got frustrated. And I don't want to speak for him here, but
Yeah, I don't like talking for the guy, but yeah, I mean, he was talking to some really smart Islamic philosophers for a year behind the scenes. Is what I've heard, and they were, I mean, and like I still got to go on to our second conversation, and because we got through the Kalam, and now we're into another argument, which supposedly, eventually it's going to lead me down the path that led him to becoming a Muslim, and I'm going to get to analyze it along the way. I need to get in contact with him actually.
The thing is with his channel is that he has, and this is just from what I've heard from other people and good, reliable people, solid people, is that he has a lot of fanatics. A lot of death threats have been thrown by people in his channel.
Oh yeah.
And if you can't curb your dog, I banned people off this channel.
Yeah, dude. I made a video, having some fun with the conversion, doing my rage thing, talking some shit. He made a video in response, and we've had a decent and civil conversation. Like I don't get don't resort to their level. Don't be what we hate about the other side. Don't do the things. It's the Christians that send us death threats. Don't be an atheist sending a damn Muslim a death threat. We take issue with, we're not allowed to draw Muhammad's face. Oh yeah, he's getting death threats from atheists. Yes.
Oh, really?
Atheists.
Yeah.
Why? Why would it? I just
because they can't
very
take
strange.
they can't take his conversion, and he's really vocal about it. Like really vocal about it.
You can do any kind of irrational behavior that you want to, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. And the thing is, once again, harboring fanatics, harboring and giving safe passage and giving a pass to people who are within your own tribe, making death threats.
I got to talk to him on Richard Madison's channel, and that was like one of the first things he was telling me. And the first thing that came into my mind is, if I'm getting death threats and stuff, I'm not talking about it. I'm going to the police. There's a freaking that's.
Yeah, tell me you were there on Richard's channel.
I find it bullshit. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you that night that I went off on Khalil, right? I believe he was there that night on Richard's channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went off on Khalil. Like he was coming at me with philosophy, and he was coming at me in all the wrong ways, and I went off. And then from there we have respect for each other now. Like from there we built it. We didn't just shut each other down.
I cannot respect someone who allows that kind of behavior on their channel. That allows people who give out death threats. Zero respect. I had issues with the kid before, and
Khalil gives death threats.
No, well, his people do. And if you can't curb your people, if you allow them.
I haven't heard that. I'll have to look into that. Yeah.
Talk to Brainbug. Brainbug's not here, but
I'll look into that.
Yeah,
because that's definitely, especially once you get into fundamental. I was about to get there. Like, they won't allow us to draw Muhammad's face or like what happened with Charlie Hebdo over in France. So I mean, it's just. Yeah, this has been an issue for a while, so I'd have to definitely look at it.
And here's the thing, if you support women sitting in the back of the bus, I've only been to a mosque once, and they were sitting behind a wall, basically, in the back of the bus at the mosque. And it's like, if you endorse that kind of behavior, if he goes to a mosque that turns people, and this is where I'm going to pop off, if he supports an institution that turns women into second-class citizens, and that was me modifying what I was going to say, then there's nothing but disdain I have for that institution and for that person. It's easy as a white man to say it's okay, because if I walk into your institution, I'm not treated like the N-word. But if suddenly I grow a pair of tits and a vagina, and then suddenly I'm told to go back in the back of the bus, or if I can't show my face or something like that, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but like I know, like he personally doesn't believe those things. I've had that conversation.
But does he endorse the institutions?
But the thing is, he's arguing for him, though.
Yeah.
Because he's arguing for him.
Well, yeah, and I haven't gotten to that part of the conversation with him yet. Definitely.
Yeah.
Something
Well,
that
I've
was
asked
also
him several
said
times.
was that
It sounds-
he denounces it.
humanist principles are important to him. He said this in the after party on the time I went on the Richard Madison's channel. He said this almost directly, that his humanist principles were more important than the God belief. And I'm like, dude, that is so contradictory. If your humanist principles, like, and not being misogyny, like, which Islam is definitely a promoter of that shit.
When I hear something like that,
I've got to shoot off.
What's
I've
that?
got to shoot off. The wife wants to go shopping.
Okay, take care, Paul.
Yep, have a good one.
Later,
You know,
Paul.
Later, Paul.
Catch you later. Nice to speak to you again.
Well, I mean, I consider Christianity the same.
I just want to say that it sounds like a Catholic who says that they're arguing for humanist principles within an institution that supports pedophilism, that hates LGBTQ, and it's like, you know what? If you want to believe in that, that's fine. I may respect you as a human being, but otherwise, the only time we're going to have a conversation is for me pointing out that you have trash beliefs, and you're supporting a trash institution.
Well,
You know?
I consider Christianity and Islam the same. You know, the only thing is Islam operates within theocracies, and that's where most of these atrocities happens. They are starting to spread into Western civilizations. But you know, if Christianity had its same way and its same rules implemented, it would look very similar to what you. So, but yet we do make room for the moderates within Christianity.
Okay, some of us do, maybe, perhaps. You know, when I talk to moderate Christians, I think I have the same attitude as I do with moderate Muslims or moderate whatever. It's always I'm not.
Well, I'll put it this way: we keep a level of respect for like family members that are Christian, right?
Well, you just gotta, I mean, I do up until the point that they start because they're blood relatives, right? Because they're people.
Exactly.
But if they start throwing that shit down, then I'm gonna pick it up, and it doesn't matter where I am. At this point in my life, I'm like, if you're gonna start talking, then that means you're saying that you want to have a real conversation about it, and that's all I'm doing.
Don't get me wrong, because I'm currently editing a video where I'm actually talking about normie Christians, and how I consider them to be fucking dangerous, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm just talking from like just an orator on here on YouTube and trying to give ground where we do get ground, but just in general life as well with our family members, we do give these people certain grounds. So I try to do the same thing with Islam. And if Khalil is saying, hey, I don't, I'm for, women having right, he's clearly still a secular humanist in a lot of ways, then I'm going to at least grant him that, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I'm all about the cognitive dissonance. It's like,
sorry to interrupt.
How can you be
complicit? I just want to say hello, but
hello. How can you? Because it's being complicit. It's being complicit in the institution, and you can lie to yourself and say you're not being complicit by giving your money to these people, by giving money to those institutions. You can like square that circle if you want to, but that is a lie. You are complicit.
No, I agree.
You perpetuate
it. Honestly.
You're promoting it, and
I agree.
It goes into other people who don't have a good moral framework, and then they will use it to do shit that is just horrible.
Chris Malley, you magnificent bastard! You caused all this trouble.
I did. How did I do that? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. Nobody saw me do it.
Khalil is such a hot topic. It's still in the community, man. It's but it is this like interesting perspective, and it's something that I've seen since I've become a YouTube atheist. Anyway, I've seen several atheists convert. Now, usually it's to a pagan religion. This is the first one where it's back into an Abrahamic religion, and that's what threw me for a loop. But I actually, Andy, I agree with everything you're saying. I think that you are complicit, and I think that this is what has driven the wedge between me and Christians that I know in my real life, because they understand that I am fundamentally against everything they believe in.
Yeah. People don't mention. I mean, my blood family, we have there's actually someone who joined the channel, who's a relative of mine, and they mentioned it the other day, and it's like, okay, that's great. You know who I am. I'm not going to apologize for who I am, and people should know, and people know that they bring up certain things that certain things are going to be said, or I'm going to respond in certain ways.
Oh man, I got in an ugly argument with somebody at work yesterday, and I never let that happen. But sometimes you can't let shit stand. You know,
Well, Well, Simply Secular Dave, how you doing? I want to say hello to you and Sam. I was popping off over here.
So you telling me that you pay for StreamYards, Andy? Because the first half an hour, I was like, damn it, he's full. I'll just sit and watch.
Okay.
And as soon as I get in, you let damn Dave in here.
I know, right?
That any old riffraff off the street. I suppose Chris is in here, so.
I joined in because you had dropped to 5 people, and I thought I'll correct the symmetry because my OCD was kicking in and it was looking odd. And you added 2 people and screwed it all up.
Once I heard the Aussie accent, I knew the standards had dropped.
Well, I mean, Sammy doesn't really exist because the Earth is flat.
That's right.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So it's nice to see you, 420, and Simply Dave.
Except in your dreams.
Man, it's hot. Doc Osiris. I'm going to save myself some time just by saying, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sure what evidence he had to go with, but it doesn't. I'm not buying it myself.
Yeah, and Andy's streams have always been very interactive with the chat, so feel free to jump on any of that you see going by.
Oh, definitely. You know, I mean, why do a live show if you're not interacting with people in the chat? I mean, that's my opinion. Yeah.
I'm too super focused. I forget, and then I see it in spots, and it's like I'm not really seeing what I'm seeing. You know.
Well,
like
I totally understand that, Rach. When I'm doing an interview with someone, it's difficult for me to juggle what I want to say and work with the chat and work with the guests at the same time. That's a tough lift. That's a hard lift.
Yeah, or you miss 10 of them and then you read one and you go, wait, what?
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't miss. There's a lot about the channel I do miss. I don't miss the pressure. Like having to find somebody to be on this show and. But other than that, I do miss being on the show and doing stuff and talking to folk. And, of course, we had the cooties. With the cooties, what's that?
You're not narcissistic enough. You need to be like Andy and just host the whole thing yourself. Make it all about you.
Yeah. I want to talk about me. Yeah. Well, I've got my own Chris Mallard Show channel. So I just burned out on the streaming. I'm on the tech and doing all. I just burned out, and I really have enjoyed not having to do that. I was thinking I would be willing to do it again, even on a daily thing. But I don't want. I wouldn't want the money. I want somebody else to get the money. You know what I mean? Well, I don't want to fuck with none of the money business.
Let me ask you a question,
Dave is like, I'll do that. What's that?
Chris, let me ask you a question because you're an actor. You're a professional. What would it take? I know the monetization structure of YouTube is terrible and it's almost exploitative. But what would it take to push you back into doing a daily show and maybe do what Andy's doing a daily show, maybe with a partner and doing an interview or a group chat thing once a week?
Same nightmare that I.
What would it take to pull you back in?
Yeah, what would it take? I don't know. Is there proof of a god? I've thought about it. One of the things, if I do something like that again, I want to do it where it's a business thing, where I'm not the one who does everything. Yeah. No offense to Andy. Me and Andy didn't really have a business agreement. He was just a guest on my show.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I was grateful and green. I appreciate that. But to have to do it all, I would, like I said, I don't want to do anything with the money thing. I want to do a business where if we make money, I get a little percentage of something. I don't want to have to do all the thing. I don't mind doing the tech part, but I don't want to do all the interviewing part and all the finding people part and all that. I would do, because I loved what I did. It just got to be too much all the time,
Well, if you had a solid producer, and I don't know, like I've never done the financial part of the back end, but I assume that that's something that a producer would handle for you, as well as booking guests and sorting out dates and times and stuff like that. If you had a solid producer behind you, would that interest you? I mean, would it interest you enough that if you found the right
do
person?
something. You know, I would think I enjoyed it, and I do miss it. So I would think about it for sure. Yeah. Something
Yeah, it
worth
sounds
talking
like
about,
there
not
needs
on
to
Andy's
be-
show though.
It
I'm
sounds
sorry, I
like
didn't
there
hear that
needs
last
to
part.
be. It sounds like there needs to be like somebody who's organizing a like an interview to organize people who want to be interviewed and like have like a circuit or a network or I don't know. This idea just came into my head because I've heard different people
Yeah.
who like to have their show. They have a problem with getting guests. If there
Yes.
was somebody who was like who made it their business to like
Well,
have
what?
a list of names, I don't know how that would work.
Well,
This
that's
idea just came to me. I don't know.
in the comedy business. They're called bookers, and there's literally, I'm a comedian. There's the club over there. The intermediary is the booker. The booker basically books for the clubs, just as you would expect. And so in comedy clubs, that's how the business model works. Basically, a lot of the times, there's a middleman, a middle person that gets you spots.
Well, so we
See-
could have a booker for atheist shows who takes guests like Neil deGrasse Tyson and organizes him to be on show A, then on show B, then on show C.
I'm not willing to shell out money for a lot of things, but if everyone shelled out like $10, or shelled out something to get one person to do the booking.
Yeah.
I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and it was about it was by creators who have made it on YouTube,
Yeah.
and they were talking about channels that just interview and why they don't really make it. And the ones that do are ones that have either someone famous doing
Yeah.
it or some gimmick. But what the problem with the interview channels is that your channel becomes about the person that you're interviewing. And when every day that's somebody different,
Yes.
you don't really build
Yeah.
your own brand.
Well, until your show takes off on a couple of those interviews and people from different areas all start watching your show because they like the content.
Well, if I can throw in, we would go trugging along and we'd be doing 15, 20 viewers. And then we'd have somebody on, like somebody. Andy will know a name in a minute, I'm sure. Somebody, the guy with the dark hair, he looks all goth. I can't remember his name. It's too early. Aaron, we'd had Aaron Raw on the show. And so that day we had 60 viewers.
Yeah.
And then the next day we're back down to, just having a name on didn't help at all. Did not.
The thing, like,
And that was the
Aaron
point.
Raw and Jimmy Snow and Matt Dillahunty, they have thousands of followers. And when they say, I'm going to be on with Andy and Chris on Friday, their viewers follow them. But what I will say about booking guests, and of all the things that I could do really well in the atheist community, I think what you described as a booking job would suit me really well, considering the time I have available and the intermittent nature of my time and all that. I'm quite interested in that. I might look into that, but
You're hired. Dave.
I think the
Thank you for
problem.
volunteering your time.
Don't you voluntold me what to do. No, I think the problem is when you talk about people that people want to see a Chris or an Andy interview or a Rage interview, you're talking about people like Jimmy Snow, like Shannon Q, like Paul Ogia, like genetically modified, like
What separates us from them?
There's a lot of names out there, but they are building their own channel and their own show, and they're busy, and they only want it, like, they're not making a fortune off this. They're doing it out of a project of love for most of them. Jimmy Snow's making enough to survive on it. Matt's obviously doing well between Twitch and YouTube. But they have a time commitment for their own channel, and they can't do 10 interviews for an hour plus with Q&A every week. That's just impossible. So there's only so much to go around in time and resources, right?
Yeah.
Well, what I had thought about doing with the Daily Atheist Morning Show was, in order to soften that blow, because it is good to get people on the show and interview them, but it's kind of hard to get a steady stream of people because they got things to do. And our time slot was a hard one to get because it's in the morning and kind of early for some folks. And then the pandemic hit and everybody's sleeping late and their kids ain't got to go to school. So, those kind of things worked against us. But in order to soften those blows, I went from working alone to getting Andy. So we had somebody to talk to on the regular. And then we got the Rage, and we started developing kind of a morning show kind of feel to it. That's what I was developing. We can pop in my car and there's a radio show. They're hilarious. That's what I wanted. I think the only thing we were missing, me and Andy talked about this, was a woman.
Oh yeah,
we needed a woman on the show.
To tell you the truth, it's all demographics. To tell you the truth, I mean, you look at, I mean, everyone here is over 40.
No.
Yeah.
Way over 40.
Yeah.
I'm 39.
And
39.
I'm 39. I'm only
Okay.
39.
All right, so you
Don't
guys are like
age me.
right. You're the youngest of the demographics here, basically.
I'm hanging on for dear life, Andy. Don't fucking age me unnecessarily.
I'm certainly not going to say you're about to become middle-aged. I wouldn't say that.
But Dave, to your question, I would not be against developing a production with a group of other people and use our talents to drive a show to where that show does something. But with the Daily Atheist Morning Show, no offense to Andy, Andy was a personality that helped, and so was Rage there at the end. But otherwise, I did everything. I did all the graphics, all the streaming. We were streaming to 3 different YouTube channels and 10 different Facebook groups or pages. I mean, we could do all that again. Absolutely. I just it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the difference between what I do on YouTube. See, like I'm not an interviewer. I get in fights with Christians, and it kind of organically spreads for me. I don't have to do all of that work that Chris is talking about because these Christians seek me out, right?
Yes.
Like, so I don't have to do any of that. I'm not trying to get interviews with people. I hardly ever interview atheists. I'm here to get into fights with theists. That's what I do. And I'll tell you this also, when it became just about the live streams, my growth stopped. Now that I'm back to making edited videos, my growth is back. It's simply like what you guys were saying. You've got to build that personal brand, and it's got to be about you. It's got to be all about you. That's what YouTube wants. Well, unless you're going to do that interview style, and then Dave is exactly correct. There is a format to doing that.
Yeah. To that point, to your point there, whenever I come in and I check in on my YouTube and analytics to see what people are watching, they're not going and watching the old reruns of the morning show. They're watching the shorts or the political post videos that I created. If I were to do something, as much as I do feel atheism is important in stopping the harm done by religion, that's not what I would want to do. I'd rather do a comedy show with Andy, a morning, even a liberal political comedy show. And not be just atheist. Liberal political comedy show on the regular, and also drop regular videos.
Yeah.
That was
that's
the
where the
exact
money's made.
reason why I was looking for y'all and looking for content like this. And when I stumbled across you, Chris, and you were talking about politics and stuff, I was like, yes, this is like, I wanted to hear it from other atheists' mouth. I wanted to hear their opinions on politics and stuff, because like, really, I'm still forming that. I could not really argue politics. I would probably get very schooled very quickly, but
that's how I felt until Trump and his group came along, and they're so incompetent and so just obvious about their corruption that it's so easy to win an argument. You're like, look, clearly the man pissed his pants and then he had to put them on backwards. Look, I mean, just look. It's not like you're going to get up there and debate the finer points of political arguments. None of that's going to happen. Not with a Trump.
Can I
So
offer
true.
my opinion on things there, Chris?
Looks like you're going to.
I'm going to whether you want me to or not. So I guess sit down and listen.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you how to run your show, boy.
Boy, this is going to be a first.
But for me, yeah, I know. No one's ever done that before.
Go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
I'm going to turn away from the screen so I don't see Dave. So I obviously found your show when it was just you. and I loved what
Oh,
you did, and I loved your evil god
Evil God Monster
series. Yeah, fantastic. But what I found myself doing was looking at who you were interviewing. And if I didn't know or wasn't interested in that person or what they were about, I didn't watch the show. Once you had Andy and Rage on, not that you weren't enough, but you were so busy just doing all the tech stuff, it's like you weren't even really there. But then you had Andy and Rage to engage, and so it was a reason to watch no matter who the guest was, because I knew Rage and Andy would be interesting.
Right.
So
and there's like 3-piece bands that go up on stage and they go and rock out, but there is so many other things going on in the background that are helping that act get on. If you look at the ACA and you're seeing 2 people on the screen, but as they gratefully show on the show, that the host mentioned, hey, there's people in the background who are making this thing go. And I think a good team can really you can really make some waves with a good team.
I agree with that 100%. And if I want to just
in
think
here,
about
I'm getting more coffee.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. I just want to think about getting names that are people recognize, and yeah, I try to do that. But really, what I want to bring people into this ecosystem and say that these are people that you may not have heard of, like Bertha Vasquez from the other night, Professor Alan Lakeman. These people, Dr. Nathan Lentz, these people who you may not have heard about, who aren't big on YouTube, but oh my freaking God, they are incredible people, and they are worth your time. And
see, and that formula is come for the Andy, stay for the guest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as
not
horrible as that
come
sounds.
for the guest.
Right.
I mean, you don't want people coming just for your guests. You want them there for you.
Yeah.
See, that's a great point. Great. I like that. That's a great point. But again, in my case, I would want to move away from strictly atheism.
Oh yeah. I still see that this is an atheist show in the morning, but
can't help it.
It's a majority of liberal, progressive, humanist content.
Right.
Stories.
You know what happened with the Tart channel, right? They got to the point where they had all of the pieces in place. They had a guy who was a great producer. They had a graphic designer who does fantastic work. The quality of their show was amazing. But they got to the point where they were doing 3 shows a day, and they were building their audience, and they had to expand. They've just added 6 characters, people, talent, whatever you want to call it, 6 people, and they rebranded as Tang, the Atheist Network Group, kind of implying more along the lines of that. They have some quality people there, and they've done exactly what Chris mapped out. They've put the right people in place.
Yeah.
They've got a guy who's strong in booking. They've got a guy who's strong in graphics. They got a guy who's strong in audio. They've got some great on-screen talent, and they're building a channel.
About to have their first conference, bringing people together. I mean, they are doing great work. I'm going to have Oz on the channel tomorrow. Oz me and Oz are very, very similar. We kind of take somewhat different approaches, but we're very, very similar, and we've always gotten along. I'm looking forward to it. I love the Tang channel.
The other thing I wanted to touch on is what Chris mentioned earlier about people not watching an hour-long or an hour-and-a-half-long interview and Q&A. And if you look at the analytics in the background of YouTube, the most watched videos are 4 minutes and 14 seconds to 12 minutes and 12 seconds.
You're right.
It's like right in that window. So if you do an hour interview, you've got to take the best 2 chunks of that out and make videos that fit in that window and put them on your channel. Because once people start watching that, they'll start watching the other videos.
Yeah.
We actually started doing some things like that. I started taking clips from the videos. I had a special button I could press that would record the last 90 seconds. So if somebody said something cool, I could instantly have it already set as a video in a folder, and then I could go afterwards. I just burned out, man, being the only one doing it.
The all caps Bible, the all caps Bible. Are you atheisting correctly? Yeah, I like those commercials y'all did.
Yeah, Andy
Yeah,
wrote
well-
them. I would dust them up and
And I
record
can
'em.
tell you get burned out, man. I do everything myself, just like Chris is saying. It does become draining. You start thinking about the sacrifices you're making with your life. There's been several times when it seems like the longer break I take, the better I am when I come back from them. And that I started seeing a therapist, and she's recommended taking those breaks frequently. But you get burned out, and at one point I never thought that was possible, but
What
when it
about
becomes
running the
possible,
show
and once
to
it's
where it's like
possible,
a
it's
season?
possible. Right?
What's that, Tobin?
What about like running your YouTube channel like a season? Like you have like a set time where you're going to be on, and just like a show, it has that time where it's
Well,
off. and then,
that would probably work for a podcast because people are dedicated. You're going to get every single podcast episode in your podcast feed. However, on YouTube, the algorithm punishes you if you don't produce and if people aren't looking at your material. So I totally empathize with that sentiment. And if for a podcast, that can work. But I don't think it works well for YouTube.
Yeah, I was talking to I was talking to Pig Puncher once, and he told me, like, if you want any growth at all on your channel, you need to upload at least once a day. And if you're not uploading at least once a day, your channel's not growing.
Yeah.
That was kind of our thinking, and we switched to doing all those. Whether we were doing the Daily Atheist Morning Show, we started doing the little 1-minute clips, the shorts, and doing the clips. We were trying again. It was just all me, and I'd be willing to do it again if I could just find a way to partner up in a situation where we could take it out. I like Dave's thinking. Dave has got a great idea about book guests. That's great, but what's that?
I said, clip that.
That's officially volunteering.
Yes.
Because it was Tobin's idea originally.
It was Tobin. Hats off.
But about there's also, we've come full circle to how having guests really doesn't help the show because people just show up to watch the guests if you don't have the right guests. So I would think maybe having a good show built on regular personalities and a weekly guest like on Fridays.
Yeah.
And then dropping regular videos like everybody has suggested.
Chris, you're familiar with Neil the 604 Atheist, right? He's doing it 3 times a week. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I think he's on right now.
Been on his show a couple times.
Yeah. And I mean, even this week he had a guest drop out and had difficulty putting someone back on. I don't know what he ended up with somebody on Saturday night, but he was looking for somebody for Thursday. But it's that same old thing, right? Eventually, if you talk to all of the atheists, you're going to run out of people.
Yeah.
They're going to trickle in. That's a lot of work to do. And he's talked about revisiting some of his earliest interviews to see how their lives have changed in that. I think that's a great idea. But again,
continue the conversation. Why is it that you can only interview the person once?
Well, that's the thing that and you'll see this on this channel is that Dale's been on this channel a bunch of times. Dale McGowan.
Yeah, Dale McGowan.
Yeah, the man's a freaking genius, and so I can talk to him about music. He's like my music guy. Dr. Andrew Spitsness. He's my new film guy, so he can come here like as many times as he wants to, and we'll just talk movies. But as well as trying to bring new people in coordinating all that, it's difficult.
And while we have a short break, can I just say, everybody in the chat, everybody watching, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about what a wonderful job Andy's doing every morning, and they should all come here with all their friends and watch.
See, but Andy has, and you'll know what I'm talking about, Andy. What most people probably see as a detriment is actually a superpower in this context, because being awake at 3 a.m. often, having a brain that works at 1,000 miles an hour, it helps with all of that.
It does. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning, just like typing away.
Really?
Get back to sleep.
I get up at like 4 a.m., 4:30.
Well, yeah, it is a superpower. The sleep disorder. It really is a superpower. I guess this is it. This has been an hour. I found it. I wouldn't have guessed that today's show would have been as good as yesterday's show, even though we didn't have real testicular explosions here. Still.
We did. We even had the testicular explosions and everything.
We referenced it, yeah. Chris Mallard, thanks for popping in, brother. This has been a lot of fun, to tell you the truth. And once again, the chemistry between you, me, and Rage, I really miss that because it's difficult. Once again, to get three people working in that kind of way, in a comedy way. That's tough to do. That's rare. So and everyone
I
else.
miss it too.
Make sure you all tune in tomorrow for Semi's testicle explosion story.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
we'll have
definitely
to
good to
figure
see you
out
again.
something.
Yeah.
Yes, Rage.
Simply Cycle a Day, we'll be talking about whether or not you want to book, whether you want to do some booking for me.
I can't hear you. Cut out.
Dave's life just got really busy all of a sudden.
All right,
I think he
everyone.
was talking to me.
Oh. All right, take care, everyone.
Take care.
Sure.
And it's a live.
Shamala hamala.
Jamal Hamel.